Welcome to my channel, guys. My name is James. Today we're going to be making something super delicious and also something very important when it comes to cooking. We're going to be making some beef stock. And if you want to make any good soups, any good stews, any good sauces, it's vital that you have a good stock. So if you actually if you make this recipe and you go out to the grocery store and you buy some normal beef stock and you make this and you compare the two, you will notice a massive difference, not just in flavor, but also in texture. Because today we're going to make it like this. We're going to make it gelatinous to where you can actually cut it with a knife and freeze it. So if you can make it like this at home, then you've done a good job. And I will show you exactly how to do that today. And hopefully you'll have the same results that I do. So guys, if you do enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that little like button down below. And if you want to see more content on my YouTube channel, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that little notification bell so you know all my other up and coming videos coming out. And I do live streaming or live cooking on Twitch. So if you are on Twitch, I am on Twitch, and I'll leave the link down below as well. So guys, let's get started. Now for the vegetables, we're going to be using about 2 onions today, 2 medium-sized onions. I'm just going to cut these into small little cubes. Then we're also going to be cutting up or slicing up some carrots. You don't have to peel these, but it's a good idea to give them a good wash. And then we're just going to, cut off the tops and then just cut them into rounds or segments, and we'll throw them in whole. And also with the onions, I forgot to mention, you want to leave the skin on because this will actually add to the pigmentation of the stock. And actually, we use this to darken stocks as well. It used to be used for coloring. We're going to be using some leeks as well, and normally you want to use the white segment or the stem from about this part to this part. The green leafy part you normally don't want to use, but since this is a stock, we're going to throw basically everything in. However, first we're going to cut off the tip, we're going to cut it up, and then we're going to give it a good wash because there's typically a lot of dirt inside these little leaves here, but like a lot. So you want to wash out all the dirt and all the stuff that's inside of these. And then of course for the celery is a very aromatic vegetable, and you don't need to add a lot. We're just going to add a little bit to the stock, but it'll add a lot of flavor. So anytime that you're adding any basic like mirepoix or onions, carrots, and celery, this is the base or the French base of mirepoix, not just the cut, but the actual 3 ingredients to make, say, stocks, soups, or the basic aromatic vegetables. We're going to add a little bit of parsley in as well. Also, we're going to add a few little bay leaves to this, which again will add with the aroma. And we're going to add some peppercorns. I'm going to add about 10 to 12 peppercorns. You can add 8 if you want, but I wouldn't suggest adding too many because, again, if you haven't used if you haven't used like whole peppercorns before, they can be extremely strong. And then we're also going to add a little bit of tomato puree at the end. This will help a little bit with thickening the sauce, and it will enhance it a little bit. You don't have to add tomato paste if you don't want to, or if you don't have it, but it will help. Now, beef stock, home beef stock, is nothing compared to the store-bought stuff. Trust me, if you buy the store-bought stuff and then you make your own, or you make this recipe and you compare the two, there's going to be a massive difference in flavor, in nutrients, and also in costs, because cost effectively, if you make enough of this, you can make a lot, you can make a production of it, and then freeze the rest of it, and save a lot of money making soups, stews, sauces, and everything else for all the months to come. Now, one important thing about the bones, it doesn't matter if you get either beef or veal bones. Veal may be a little more expensive because it's more expensive, and you can mix the two as well as if you want. But if you want to make 2 separate stocks, then I would say do the beef and then actually make a veal stock with veal bones instead. But like I said, it doesn't really matter if you want to mix the two. And as well, I would say to get a little bit of meat with the bones, as this will enhance the stock. The stock is not a finished product. So today we're not going to be adding any salt, and I'm not going to add any garlic. You can add some garlic to this if you want, but then you need to just keep in mind that everything that you add this stock to, you're going to be adding the garlic to as well, because garlic is pungent, is strong, it has a good flavor. I like using it in a lot of my sauces and stews and everything else, but I also want to be able to control that. And one ingredient, as I was saying earlier, that I couldn't get, which I normally do add and I use quite a bit in my cooking, is thyme. And today, for some reason, I couldn't find it. I went to 7 different fruit stands and 3 different grocery stores, and nobody had it. So I'm gonna have to get a little plant and grow it, and well, the plant's not gonna last very long with me because I use a lot of thyme, but if you can't find it, it's not a big deal. But fresh thyme is a very fragrant herb that goes very well with many stocks, sauces, soups, stews, dishes, or meat in general. It goes very well with it. Now, what I would suggest to start this recipe off is to preheat your oven, first of all. Put it on as high as it'll go. Mine will go to 300 centigrade. Most commercial ovens will go higher, but most in-house ovens are only going to go to a certain temperature, say 300 centigrade or maybe 450 Fahrenheit. I forget how high some of them go in Fahrenheit, but you want to put up to the max. We're going to take the bones, we're going to lay them out into a tray. And if you did have them cut from the butcher and if they have a lot of blood on them, I would say to give them a quick rinse to wash off any of the excess blood and debris. I'm going to take my baking tray as well as a little bit of parchment paper, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of olive oil on them, mix them up, and when the oven comes up to temp, I'm going to pop them in for about an hour to 2 hours. We want to give a little bit of color to the bones. And while the bones are cooking, I'm going to start sauteing all the vegetables. Now, if you do not have a big enough pot, as you can tell that I don't have a lot of space, so I don't have an actual 5-gallon or 10-gallon stock pot in my house. So today, I'm going to saute the veg, and if you don't have, like I don't, enough space to put everything into one pot, then I would say divide it up into multiple pots. It's not the best situation, but it gets the job done and the end result will be the same. So first I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to saute the onions. I'm going to add the rest of the vegetables. I'm just going to saute and keep cooking them until they start to wilt and so they start to cook down. I'm going to add the leeks in as well after giving them a good rinse and washing off all that dirt that you want to get off. Also, before we add the bones, I'm going to add some tomato paste into the pot, and I'm going to cook the paste down a little bit. I'm not going to, you can add it to the meat and put it in the oven with it, but I'm going to instead put it into the pot because I don't want to burn it. Tomato paste can burn very quickly. And after all the vegetables are cooked, we're going to wait until the bones are ready. Once they're golden brown, you're going to take them out of the oven, let the tray cool off a little bit. You don't want to burn yourself. Then you're going to take the bones and put them into the pot. Like I said, if you don't have enough space, divide everything in half. And then we're going to fill this up to the top with water. You want to cover everything. I'm going to throw the parsley in, I'm going to throw the peppercorns in, and I'm also going to throw the bay leaves in. Now here comes the long part, where we're going to bring this back up to a boil, everything up to a roaring boil, and as soon as it comes up to a boil, you're going to put it on low heat. We want to have this on like a little bit of a simmer, and we're going to set the timer for about 5 hours, more or less, 5 or 6. The longer you leave this, the more flavor you're going to get out of everything, out of the vegetables and out of the bones. 5 hours is pretty much, 5 or 6 is like the minimum that you should cook this for. And if you do cook this overnight, it can be a little dangerous, so you want to be careful. But if you are going to cook this overnight, I would suggest doing that because you get a lot of flavor out of this. Now, once your timer goes off for about 5 or 6 hours or the next day, then what we're going to do is we're going to take the stock off of the heat, make sure that you have a chinois or a fine sieve of some sort, and we're going to remove all the bones and all the vegetables. And we're going to discard all the vegetables, or we've already extracted all of the flavor from them and all the nutrients. There's almost nothing left. So discard all of that. You may have to pass the stock through the sieve again about twice. You may have to if you have a fine sieve to collect all the debris and everything else. You're going to put this into a Tupperware, a large container, or a pot if you have space. Put that in the fridge. You're going to wait at least half a day to overnight to let the stock solidify or let it at least cool down. And all that fat that was in the pot, this is an easy way of doing it. This is a little trick. If you put it into the fridge, the fat will rise to the surface, and then the following, so half day or the next day, you can just literally take the fat off and discard it. And there you have a finished stock. It's completely done. All you have to do is either use this for a soup or stew or anything else within the next like 3 or 4 days, or take a few Tupperwares, pour it into some Tupperwares or another container, and freeze it and put it in your freezer for up to several months. This only took me about 6 hours to cook and reduce. And the most important thing about this is if you actually make it like this, where it's like condensed, it's thick, you don't have to use as much. You can actually just cut it into smaller pieces, add it to a super stock, and then add a little more water to it to, well, balance it out, because this has a lot of flavor in it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this super easy and delicious recipe for beef stock. This is not a finished product, right? So this is just a stock. This is unfinished, but it's still tasty, but it's unfinished, and this is what we use in incorporation into other, say, recipes, stocks, sauces, well, not stocks, but sauces, stews, and soups, but it's still tasty nonetheless. So anyway, guys, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that little like button down below, as it helps greatly with the algorithm. And if you want to see more content on my YouTube channel, then don't forget to subscribe so you know where I am. And you'll hit that little notification bell so you know all the up and other coming videos that I have coming out every single week. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope to see you guys again soon. Have a great week and take care.